Imagine standing in front of a painting created over 420 years ago, yet it still feels shockingly alive. This is Michelangelo Merisi de Caravaggio's The Supper at Emmaus, painted in 1601, and hidden inside it is a secret that went unnoticed for more than 4 centuries. Today, this masterpiece resides in the National Gallery in London, but its story begins on the dusty roads outside Jerusalem, shortly after the crucifixion. The scene is taken directly from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24. 2 disciples, walking to the village of Emmaus, are joined by a stranger. They talk for hours about the tragic events in Jerusalem, the arrest, the crucifixion, the empty tomb. They invite the stranger to stay for supper at an inn, and then something extraordinary happens. As the stranger takes the bread, blesses it, and breaks it, their eyes are finally opened. They recognize him. It is the risen Christ. In that instant, everything changes. At the center sits Christ, beardless, youthful, with soft rosy cheeks and an expression of perfect serenity. With one hand, he blesses the bread, with the other, he reaches gently toward us. This lack of a beard is deliberate. Early Christian art often showed the resurrected Christ as youthful and beardless, symbolizing his transformed, glorified body. The man the disciples walked with for hours looked different enough that they didn't recognize him until this very moment. To his left, the disciple traditionally identified as Cleophas practically leaps from his chair. His elbows poke sharply through the torn sleeves of his worn coat. His face is a mixture of panic, astonishment, and dawning faith. On the right, the other disciple, often called Luke, throws his arms wide open. If you look carefully, the position of his arms echoes the shape of the cross, whether Caravaggio intended this or not. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It reminds us that this meal exists because of the sacrifice on Calvary. Standing behind them is the innkeeper, completely oblivious. He hears the same words, stands under the same dramatic light, yet understands nothing. He represents every person who witnesses the divine but remains unchanged by it. His ordinary, skeptical face makes the disciples' transformation even more powerful. Now, look at the table. Caravaggio has left the entire front completely open toward the viewer. There's no barrier. It feels like we could pull up a chair and join them. This is no accident. Caravaggio wanted us to step inside the sacred moment. The composition is dominated by his signature technique, revolutionary chiaroscuro. The extreme contrast between light and dark. There is no visible window or natural light source. Instead, a powerful, unseen light descends from above, illuminating the figures while plunging the background into deep shadow. The 17th century art critic Giovanni Pietro Bellori wrote that Caravaggio never brought his figures out into daylight, but placed them in the darkness of a closed room, using light to strike only the principal parts of the bodies. The result is theatrical, almost cinematic. These figures seem to glow in the only illuminated space in an otherwise dark world. This wasn't just a stylistic choice. In an era when most religious art was idealized and distant, Caravaggio painted real Roman street people, laborers, beggars, and working men, as his models. No halos, no ethereal beauty, just raw humanity. This approach shocked and offended many of his contemporaries, but it electrified others. It made the Bible feel immediate, urgent, and present. Now we come to one of the most astonishing details in the entire composition. The basket of fruit teetering on the edge of the table, right in front of us. Using a brilliant trompe-l'oeil technique, Caravaggio makes the basket appear to jut out of the canvas into our real space. It looks like it could fall at any second and spill its contents at our feet. This is Caravaggio breaking the fourth wall, telling us, this miracle is not locked in the past. It's happening right here, right now, with you. Look inside the basket. Every piece of fruit carries layered symbolism that 17th century viewers would have instantly understood. There's an apple, already beginning to rot, a reminder of original sin and the fall of man. Bunches of grapes symbolize the Eucharistic wine, representing Christ's blood. Figs, pomegranates, and quinces speak of fertility, resurrection, and abundance. But the real revelation is hidden in the weave of the basket itself. If you look very closely at the fraying wicker on the left side, A loose twig and a curving line form the unmistakable silhouette of a fish. This is the ancient Ichthys symbol, the secret code early Christians used during times of Roman persecution. One believer would draw half the fish in the dirt, the other would complete the curve. If they matched, they knew they were safe among friends. Caravaggio didn't just include the symbol, he animated it. One curve is brightly lit, the other remains in shadow, exactly mirroring how the secret sign was drawn. And he didn't stop there. The shadow cast by the basket onto the crisp white tablecloth forms a second, complete fish with a clear crescent-shaped tail. A third fish appears in the shadow of the fruit pile just to the right of the basket. 3 hidden symbols, all in the same corner of the painting. This discovery, made relatively recently, tells us something profound about Caravaggio's intentions. He wasn't just painting a biblical scene. He was embedding a message of recognition, faith, and underground solidarity into a public masterpiece. Between 1601 and 1606, Caravaggio's life unraveled. He was involved in fights, legal troubles, and famously killed a man in a duel, forcing him to flee Rome. His later years were marked by exile, instability, and growing darkness. He died in 1610 at only 38, under circumstances that are still debated today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Were you aware of the hidden fish symbols before this video? What do you think they reveal about Caravaggio's faith? And why do you believe he removed them in the second version? Drop your thoughts below. Like and subscribe for more art history deep dives, and I'll see you in the next video.